Good evening, everybody. Yes, am I audible to everyone? Yes, Ashwin, good evening. Sweta, good evening. Deepa, good evening. Sushant, Lakshmi, yes, good evening, everybody. Raj, good evening. Vishnu Priya, yes, good evening, everybody. Am I audible to everyone? Venkatesh, yes, Ramya, good evening. So, what we discussed, my voice is not audible. Am I audible? Am I audible to everyone? Yes. So yesterday I was discussing with you about what we saw yesterday. I was discussing with you about looping statement, right? So what are the different types of loops? Can you just tell me? So can you just tell me what are all the different types of looping statements? So yesterday I started with looping statements. So what are all the different types of looping statements? Tell me. Yes, good evening. So yesterday I started with looping statements. So what is the use of loop statement? So everybody, you are all with me? Yes, good evening. So what is the main use of this kind of a looping statement? Yes, for loop, while loop, do while loop. Yes, I was discussing with you about different types of looping statements. Clear? So what do you mean by a looping statement? So when I want to repeat a set of instructions for a fixed number of times, I can go for a loop statement. So I have three different types of loops. So I can go for a for loop, or I can go for a while loop, or I can go for a do while loop. So based on my requirements, so I can go for any type of looping statements. Clear? So if you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the lecture notes, how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge, and you have to attend this masterclass for 25 days in order to get the webinar certificate, and you have to pay rupees 100. The attendance, so every day the attendance will be posted during the live chat. And once you attend this masterclass for 25 days and if you pay rupees 100, you will be receiving the webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Alright. So if you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So once you register for the internship, so you'll be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the lecture notes, how the projects are being developed. So once you attend this masterclass for 25 days and if you pay rupees 100, you'll be receiving the webinar certificate. The internship users, they'll be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Alright. So till this part, whatever I discussed, everything is clear. So I started with the Java. So what do you mean by this language? So what are all the different applications of this Java language? And then applications. What are all the real-time applications of this language? Then I started with single line comments, multi-line comments. I gave you some examples. And then we saw about different types of looping statements. So today I'm just going to continue. So I'm going to continue with, I gave an introduction to decision making statement. So today I'm going to continue with the decision making statement. So what do you mean by a decision making statement? So what do you mean by a decision making statement? Anybody can tell me? So yesterday I gave an introduction to decision making statement, right? So if I want to execute some instructions based on some condition, so I can go for a decision making statements. So looping statement, I have 3 different types of loops, and similarly I can go for a decision making statement. 1 minute. So let me just continue. I started with the decision making statement. So I'm just going to continue with the decision making statement. What is the main use of this kind of decision making statement? So what is the use of this kind of decision making statement? Anybody can tell me? So what is the use of this kind of decision making statement? Say for example in an e-commerce industry, so based on some customer purchase, say for example if he is making a purchase of more than 1000, so he is going to get a discount. So I am going for a decision making. So based on some condition, I want to execute some set of statements. So I can go for this kind of decision making statements. Say for example, if, so I am putting some condition within the if loop. Say for example, if the customer purchase is greater than this amount, so he is going to get a discount of this. So in e-commerce industry, so think of any real-time website applications. So what is the use of this kind of, every day, so I'm discussing different types of Java concepts. So yesterday I was talking about loops. So why we require loops? And in which situation you can go for decision making statements. So based on my requirements, I can go for a looping statement or I can go for a decision making statement. Here, so what is the use of this kind of decision making statement? Say for example, when a customer is making some purchase. So if the purchase amount is greater than this, he will be getting some discount. So based on some condition, I want to execute some operation. So I can put it in a if statement. That is a decision maker. So if condition. So if this condition is, only when this condition is satisfied, this program, this operation is to be performed. So we are just instructing the computers. Clear? So similarly, you can think of some other application. So I am creating a website for an employee organization, a smaller organization. So based on the employee's salary, so I want to designate, I want to give some designations, I want to give some, so based on his performance, so how I want to increment his salary. So something like that. So based on some condition, I want to perform some action. So operation or an action, I can go for this kind of decision making statements. Here with this, so what do you mean by this kind of decision making? So based on some condition, I'm going to perform some operation. Here, so there are different types of decision making statement. So I can go for a if statement or I can go for a if else statement or nested if. So I have different types of decision making. So what do you mean by a simple if statement? So you can call this as a if statement or a simple if statement. So what do you mean by this simple if statement? So if this condition is satisfied, so a group of statements will be executed. I am going to perform this operation. So what do you mean by this if else structure? So I am going to give some condition within the if statement. If this condition is satisfied, the program is going to perform some operation else. Otherwise, the else block will be executed. And what do you mean by this nested if? Say for example, in case of if statement, so if I want to check only one condition, so I can go for a simple if statement. And what is the use of this kind of a if else structure? So if this condition is satisfied, I am going to perform some operation. Otherwise, the else part will be executed. Else, the else block will be executed. And nested if statement. So what do you mean by nesting? So if I want to execute, if I want to check two conditions, so based on only when two conditions are satisfied, I am going to perform some operation. I can go for a nested if statement. So what do you mean by a nesting operation? Embedding or nesting. So I am putting an if statement within another if statement. So this is called as a nested if statement. So logical AND operator. So you would have heard about logical AND, right? So what is the use of logical AND operator? So when I want to check more than one condition, I can go for a logical AND operator. Similarly, what is the use of this kind of a nested if statement? So if I want an if statement within another if statement, then I can go for this kind of a nested if statement. Clear with this? So what are all the different types of if statements? So based on my requirement, so I can go for different types of if statements. Clear? Say for example, I am giving an example of a simple if statement. So let me just try out a simple example of a if statement. So already I have created a project. So if not, you can create a project. And the project structure looks like this. So I am having a source packages folder and a default package. So if I want to create a new Java class, so how I can do so? So this is how I can create a new Java class. So I am just right clicking this. There is an option called new. And then I am creating a Java class. So here I am giving as simple if. So I am giving the class name as simple if statement. And then I am trying to execute some operation. Here. So inside the simple if statement, so I am giving public static void main string of space args. So the argument is passed as a string array. I am coming inside. So I am just saving this code. I am coming inside. So I am just initializing a with the value of 10. So I am just checking. So I can give for a I can go for a if condition. If a I am checking equal to 10. So I am printing something at the output. So system dot out dot println. So I am just printing the value of a is 10. Value of a is 10. So this will be printed at the output. Here. So every time I am typing something, so this is how I can go for a simple Java coding. So every time I am typing something, so I need to click the save button. So whenever I want to create any new class, so I have to go for this class keyword. Here. So class space, I have to give the name of the class. So I can go for a simple if statement, or I can go for a if else structure, or I can go for a nested if statement. So public access modifier. So I will discuss with the access modifiers later in my chapters. So initially I am just discussing. So I am giving the keyword as public. So always the JVM, the program execution starts from the main method. So whatever is the program I am typing, so everything, the program execution always starts from the main method. So first I am initializing a with the value of 10. So int a equal to 10. And then I am checking for a condition. If a equal to 10. So I am printing the value of a is 10. Here, so after typing the code, just right click and there is an option called run file option. So you can just run this file. So just right click the file and you can click as run file option. So it is taking some time. So once it is executed, so you will be getting the corresponding output. Clear? So this is an example of simple if statement. So based on some condition. So if is the keyword. So if I want to do any kind of decision making, so I have to use this if keyword. So if within simple bracket, I am checking for some condition. If a's value equal to 10, I am printing something at the output. So this is an example of simple if statement. Clear? So I can go for a if else statement. So the next type of statement is next type of decision making statement is if else statement. So what do you mean by this if else statement? Say you can think of some scenario. So if this condition is satisfied, say for example, if the customer purchase in an e-commerce industry, you can go for online shopping. So you can imagine any website, Amazon or Flipkart, or you can imagine any website. Say for example, if the customer purchase amount, say for example, if it is greater than 1000 and less than 2000, he is going to get a discount of 100. Else he is going to get a discount of, say for example, 50 or something. You can keep like this. Clear? So based on my requirement, so if I want to, you can imagine any scenario, so where I can go for this kind of an if else structure. So in a website application, you can think so, or in case of banking applications, banking websites. Say for example, if he is going to deposit this amount of money, so this will be the interest rate. So if the amount varies between this and this, so this will be the interest rate, else the interest rate will be this amount. So you can imagine, so when I'm developing some bigger application, so what is the use of all these kind of different types of statements? So when I'm building some larger websites, so everywhere, so automation, that is, everything is becoming online. So online trading or online banking or online insurance. So whatever you can think of. You have many online movie sites as well. So that is Netflix. You can think of any other things. So wherever you go, wherever I have some website development, so if I want to execute if I want to perform some operation based on some condition, you can go for this kind of decision making statements. Clear? So this is the main use. So there is one more. There are different types of decision making. The first one is a simple if statement. So from the name you can just understand. So what do you mean by a simple if statement? So the next type of decision making statement is the if else structure. So if some condition is satisfied, I am going to perform some operation. Otherwise the else block will be executed. Here, just right click. I am creating a new Java class. So I am giving the title as if else. If else example. So I am just giving the class name as if else example. Clear? Say for example, inside this I am creating a main method. Public static void main string of space args. So I am creating a string array, a string argument. A string array is passed as an argument. So I am checking for some condition. Say for example, int a equal to 5. So based on this condition, I am going to perform something. If a value is greater than 5, so I am printing the value of a is greater than 5. So I am giving the print statement system.out.println. So I am giving as value of a is greater than 5. Value of a is greater than 5. So greater than or equal to 5. Otherwise I am giving value of a is greater than 5. I am giving as value of a is greater than 5. So it should be terminated with a semicolon. Otherwise the else block will be executed. So I am giving a print message system.out.println. So when I want to print something at the console, I have to give this message. I am just printing this. The value of a is less than 5. So else block will be executed. The value of a is less than 5. Here with this code, so the statement should be terminated with a semicolon, and I am just saving. Each and every time I am writing some Java coding, I have to save this file. Here with this, so this is an example of if else structure. So always the program execution starts from the main method. So I am creating a public class called if else example. So the program execution, it comes in, it starts from the main method. So public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So first I am initializing a with the value of 5. And then I am checking for the condition. So if keyword, so I am checking if a's value is greater than 5, I am printing the value of a is greater than 5. Otherwise the else block will be executed. The value of a is less than 5 will be executed. Clear with this? So based on, you can imagine, so as I told you, right, you can imagine an e-commerce website, online website, or a movie website. Say for example, if a person is searching for this kind of, if this is the category, this is all these are the listing of movies. Otherwise the else block will be executed. You can imagine any situation. So when I'm building some larger website applications, you can go for this kind of looping statement or decision making statement or any other type of statement. So next I'll be discussing with some more type of arrays and other kind of methods where you can use all these type of functionalities. Clear with this? So what is the use of a simple if statement? And the next type of if statement is the decision making statement is the if else structure. So if some condition is satisfied, the if block will be executed. Otherwise the else part will be executed. If the condition is false, the else part will be executed. The third type of if statement is the if else if structure. So all these are the different types of if statements. So simple if else and if else if structure. So this is the third type of decision making statement. Here, so where you can use this if else if. So if I want to check multiple conditions, so for example, if this is the first condition, else if the purchase lies between this and this will be the discount amount. Else if, so if I want, say for example, if the customer has made a purchase, you can consider the e-commerce industry. If the customer has made a purchase of rupees, so if the customer purchase is greater than 5,000, so this will be the discount amount. In a big supermarket, you can imagine. Or if the customer purchase amount lies between, say for example, 1,000 to 2,000, this will be the else if. I can go for a else if part. Otherwise, the final else block will be executed. So when I'm building this kind of application, so if I want to calculate some discount, so in an e-commerce website, you can imagine. So you can go for this kind of if else if structure. So or in any other sector if I want, so for example, wherever you have some website application, similarly in a banking application, I want to know. So if this is the person's status, he is eligible for a loan. Else if the age values lies this, if the age and the annual that is the annual salary of a person lies between this will be the loan amount. So based on my requirements, so you can imagine any situation. You can go for an e-commerce industry or you can go for a banking sector. So wherever, so whenever I'm building some larger applications, so I can go for all these different types of decision making statements. So I can go for a simple if statement, or I can go for a if else structure, or I can go for if else if. So if I want to execute multiple conditions, so if the first condition is satisfied, I am going to execute something. Else if the second condition is satisfied, I am going to execute something. Else if, so I have multiple conditions to be executed. If none of the conditions are satisfied, the final else block will be executed. Here with this, so I am just giving an example of if else if. So all these are the different types of if statements. So I can go for a simple if statement, I can go for a if else structure, or I can go for multiple ifs, if else if. So let me just give a simple example. So I am just giving as student 1 or student 11. So whatever may be the class name. So how to create a new Java class? Just right click this package. So whatever is the source package I am having, right click. There is an option called new and you have to go for a new Java class. And I have to give the corresponding class name. So there is an option to specify the class name. So I have to give the corresponding class name and then I am clicking the finish button. Here with this, so what are all the different types of if statements? So where I can go for different types of if statements. So all these are the conditions where I can go for different types of if statements. Say for example, I am giving as student 11. So this is the name of my file. So I am just clicking the save button. So what I am trying to do in this code, so I am just creating a class, so public class. So when I am going to discuss with you about the access modifiers, I will just elaborate this in detail. So if I want to create any class, so I have to go for this class keyword. So I am giving the name of the class and then I am coming inside the main method. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. So I am just initializing city equal to Delhi. So whatever is the city, if city equal to Meerut. So I am giving city is Meerut. So else if the city equal to Noida. Else if, so if I want to check multiple if statements. So inside Delhi, so what are all the different cities? Otherwise, finally I am printing Delhi at the output. Clear with this? So what is the use of this kind of if else if? So if I want to check multiple conditions, so I can go for this kind of decision making statement. So based on my requirements, so whenever I am building any kind of larger applications for website applications, so based on my requirements, I can go for different types of decision making statements. Clear? So Delhi will be printed at the output. So I am checking for multiple conditions. So if is the keyword, so first the if block will be executed. If city equal to Meerut, so I am printing something. City is Meerut. Otherwise, else if, I am checking for one more condition, city equal to Noida. So I am printing city is Noida. It will be printed at the output. Else if, I am checking city equal to Agra. So city is Agra. Otherwise, the final else block will be executed. Clear with this? So what are all the different types of decision making statements? So the first one is a simple if statement. The next type of decision making statement is a if else structure. So if some condition is satisfied, I am going to perform some operation, otherwise the else block will be executed. So the third type of decision making statement is if else if. So based on multiple conditions, I want to execute something, otherwise the final else block will be executed. So there is one more type of if statement. It is nothing but nested if structure. So what do you mean by nesting of if operations? So nested if structure. So having an if statement within another if statement. Clear? So that is called as the nested if else, that is nested if structure. Say for example, it is similar to logical AND operator. So what is the meaning of logical AND operator? I want to perform more than one operation. So for example, so what is the meaning of logical AND operator? Similar thing is performed in nested if statement. See, what is the use of this logical AND operator? I want to check two conditions. Say for example, I can take any, for example, I am just initializing. Say for example, age equal to, for example, I am giving as 20. And weight. So I am just initializing two variables. Say for example, int weight equal to, say for example, I am giving as 55 or something you can give. I am just checking for a condition. So if first I need to check the age parameter. If age is greater than, say for example, I am giving as 15 or something like this. So again I am coming inside. So this is called as a nested if structure. So I am checking for one more if condition. So if, say for example, and weight is greater than 50. So I am taking this, weight is greater than 50. So I am going to take something, I am giving a print message, system.out.println. So I am giving eligible, he is eligible to donate blood. Clear? So what is the use of this kind of a nested if structure? So having an if statement within another if statement. So if I want to check more than one condition, so this is similar to the logical AND operator. So what we are going to do in case of logical AND operator? So I want to check more than one condition. So I can go for logical AND operator. So only when both the conditions are satisfied, I want to perform some operation. Clear? So in case of a banking application, banking website, so I want to know if the person is a male person and if he is earning this much. If the marital status and the spending score I have to take. Only when both these conditions are satisfied, I am saying the person is eligible for a loan. So otherwise the person is not eligible for a loan. So I want to check more than one condition. So I can go for this kind of nested if statements. Clear? So what are all the different types of if statements? So based on my requirements, so I can go for different types of if statements. So you can see here, this is one more example, that is nested if structure. So from the name you can just understand what do you mean by this kind of nested if structure. So I am just creating one more example. So whenever I want to create any example, just right click new and Java class. I am just giving the name as student13. So I am just clicking the finish button. So I am creating a class called student13 class. So you can see here, I am just giving the class name as student13 and then I am typing the save button. So after typing the code, so what I am trying to do in this code, so I am just creating a new class. So student13, this is the name of the class and this is the access modifier. So I am going to discuss with the access modifiers later in my chapters. So I am just creating a new class called student13. And then I am creating a main method. So public static void main, the argument is passed as a string array. So I am giving the address as Delhi and then India. So string address. I am just initializing this address variable. So I am going for a nested if structure. If address dot ends with India and if address dot contains Meerut. So I am going for different cities. I am giving the city as Meerut. Else if address, if it contains Noida, I am giving the city as Noida. Clear? Otherwise, I am giving the first city. So, I am giving the city as Delhi. If none of this was satisfied, you can see I am going for a nested if structure. So, if I want to check more than one condition, so based on my requirement, just imagine any application. You can go for a banking application, an insurance website, or you are developing a website for a railway organization. So, whatever may be the case. So, if you want to check more than one condition, you can go for this kind of nested if statement. So, what do you mean by a nesting operation? So, having a if statement within another if statement. So, this is called as a nested if structure. Clear? So, I am just going to execute this code. Just right click, then click run file. Clear? So, Delhi will be printed. So, the first one is correct. So, otherwise I am splitting the zeroth value. That is the first zeroth index. The first value will be split from my address and this will be printed at the output. Clear? You want me to explain this. So, what I am trying to do here. So, first I am just creating a variable. That is string variable address equal to. So, I am just giving within double quotes Delhi and then India. Alright. So, if my address ends with India and if it contains Meerut, so only when both these condition ends with, so you can see it is ending with India. The first condition is satisfied. So, it is going to come inside this if loop. And if it contains this Meerut, so inside India, so I am going to check with the city. So, I am giving your city is Meerut. Else if I am going to check address if it contains Noida. So, I am giving your city is Noida. Otherwise, the else block will be executed. So, this else if is for this if statement, otherwise the else block. So, my city is not, my address does not contain Meerut, so it ends with India, so it is going to the else part and the Delhi will be printed at the output. Clear with this? What I am trying to do in this example, if my first condition fails, then this else block will be executed. Clear? You are not living in India. So, till this part everything is clear. So, I just gave an introduction to decision making statement. So, this is one important statement. So, similar to looping statement, decision making statement, this is one important statement. So, we have different types of decision making statement. So, based on our requirement, so as I told you, right, you can imagine when building some larger applications, you can imagine any scenario. I want to calculate the loan amount or I want to calculate the purchase discount if I want to give some discount. Or say for example, you can imagine any situation in a railway organization. So, I want to know. So, based on the user's destination and the that is the ticket amount. So, what is the destination route, shortest route possible. So, you can imagine any situation. So, when I am building some bigger applications, you can imagine any situation. So, where I can go for this kind of decision making statements. So, till this part everything is clear. So, this is one more important statement, decision making statement. So, next I am going to proceed with the next type of statements. So, till this part everything is clear. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. So, if you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So, once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the recorded videos, the lecture notes, how the projects are being developed. So, you will be gaining more practical knowledge. Please hurry up, the internship offer is going to end soon. So, every day the attendance will be posted during the live chat. So, you have to fill in the attendance form, it's mandatory. And once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, you will be receiving a webinar certificate and you have to pay ₹100 and you will be receiving a webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Alright. So, if you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. So, once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the lecture notes, the recorded videos. So, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. And every day the attendance will be posted during the live chat. You have to fill in the attendance. And once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, and if you pay ₹100, you will be receiving a webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Clear? So till this part, everything is clear. So what do you mean by a decision making statement? So I just gave an introduction to decision making statement and what are the different types of decision making statements. So next I'm going to discuss with you about one more important statement. So all these are the different types of statements that are available in Java. So next I'm going to discuss with you about break statement. So I discussed with you about looped statement and decision making statement. So I have some more statements. I can go for a break statement or I can go for a continue statement. So what is the use of a break statement? So from the name you can just understand. So what is the use of this kind of a break statement? So if I want to break the flow of a program, say for example, I am executing some set of instructions to perform specific task. So if I want to skip some part of a program and I have to switch the execution, so I have to pass the control, transfer the control to the next part of the program, to some other part, I can go for this kind of break statement. So braking operation. So when I am driving a car, so what is the use of a brake? So if I want to stop something, so if I want to stop the flow, normal flow of a program, if I want to break from the block and I have to go to the next block. Say for example, you can imagine any situation. So I am executing certain instructions. For example, an employee, he is filling in the personal details. Say for example, he is entering some wrong details. So I want to exit from the loop. So when I am entering in the database, so I want to exit from the loop and I have to go for the next. I have to skip that part. So if he is entering some wrong details, I have to skip that part and I have to proceed with the next section. So you can go for this kind of a break statement. Clear? So what is the use of this kind of a break statement? So this is one more important statement, that is break statement. So let me just illustrate one example for a break statement. So all these are the important types of functionality. So what makes this programming language very, very efficient? So you can perform all these type of operations. So whatever type of operations you want to perform, so you can perform any type of operations. So let me just illustrate. So what is the use of this kind of break statement? So I am just right clicking. There is an option called new option. I am creating a Java class. So I am just giving example BR. So example break statement. So I have to give the corresponding class name. So whenever I am creating any new class, so I have to give the corresponding class name and what is the project, in which project I have to create this class. And I am clicking this finish button. So I am giving this kind of a break statement. So let me just illustrate. So what is the use of a break statement? So I am giving example BR. So whatever is the class name, so I am just giving the corresponding class name. So each and every time I am typing something, so I have to click the save button. So class is the keyword. So I am creating a class called example break. So public access modifier. And then inside this, I am creating a main method called public static void main. So the argument is passed as a string array. So and then I am creating a for loop. So for int I equal to 0 and I less than or equal to 10 and I plus plus. So I am going for a for loop. I am initializing I with the value of 0. And then I am checking for a condition. So I value is less than or equal to 10. And then I am incrementing the I value. So I am printing each and every I value at the output. So once it enters the value, so once it hits 6, so up to 5 it will be printed. Once it hits 6, I am just breaking. So the program flow will be braked. Clear with this? So what is the use of this kind of a break statement? So just right click and I am running this file. You can see here, so from 0, so first I will be initialized with the value of 0. So I am checking for some condition. I value is less than or equal to 10. Yes, this is true. So I am printing 0 at the output. And then I am incrementing 1. So I value is less than or equal to 10. So 1 will be printed at the output. So till 6 it will be printed. Once it reaches the value of 6, so I am just breaking. So instead of 6, so I can give, instead of 6 I can give as 5. So once it reaches the value of 5, so or otherwise you can give this as 8. For till 8 it will be printed. So whatever type of functionality you can perform. Here, so you can see till 8. So first I value will be initialized with the value of 0. So 0 will be printed. And then I am incrementing I by 1. So 1, the next value. So the loop goes. So 1 will be printed at the output. And 2, 3, so up to 8. It will be printed at the output. And then just breaking. So once it reaches the value of 8, I am just breaking. So that is the main use of the breaking statement. So if I want to skip some part of a code, I can go for this kind of a breaking statement. Clear? So till this part, so this is one more type of statement, that is break statement. And similar to break statement, so I have another type of statement. It is called as a continue statement. So it is the opposite of the break statement. So what is the use of continue statement? So without breaking, I want to continue the operation. So it jumps to the next part of the code and I want to continue something. So I can go for continue statement. So from the name you can just understand. So what do you mean by continuing? So breaking statement, it just breaks that part of the code and it comes to the next part. And continue, it just continues the execution and the program execution flows normally. The opposite of break statement is the continue statement. So I am just creating an example. Say for example, I am creating continue example. So this is one more important statement available in Java. So just right click. There is an option called new. I am creating a new Java class. I am just giving as continue example. And then I am clicking the finish button. Then I am going for this kind of continue statement. So I am just typing the entire code and then I am clicking the save button. So what I am trying to do here, so this is one more important statement, that is the continue statement. So what I am trying to do here, say for example, I am giving this as continue and then I am clicking the save button. So continue example, so I am creating a class. Class keyword is used for creating a new class and public is the access modifier. I am creating a main method, so public static void main, and the argument is passed as a string array, string of space args. The argument is passed as a string array, and then I am going for a for loop. So int I equal to 0, I less than or equal to 2, and I plus plus. So nesting of loop, and int j equal to I. So j less than or equal to 5 and j plus plus. So I am just incrementing the j's value. And once it reaches the value of 4, if j equal to 4, so I am just continuing. So whichever statement, so continue keyword. So break, if I want to go for a break statement, so I have to give the keyword called break keyword. And if I want to continue, so once it reaches the value of 4, if I want to continue the next part of my program without breaking, so I have to go for this continue keyword. So it is going to continue my program execution and the remaining values will be printed at the output. Just right click and there is an option called run file option. Clear with this? So what I am trying to do here, so for example 1, 2, so for it will be printed till 4th value. So it is going to continue and the remaining values will be printed at the output. So instead of 4 I can give any value. First I value will be initialized with the value of 0 and j equal to I. So 0th value. So it will come inside, it is going to continue. So 0 will be printed. And again j equal to I. So I am going to increment j value. So j equal to I. So again second position it will be printed. First 1 will be printed at the output. I am checking. So till 5 it will be printed at the output till it reaches the value of 4. And then again it goes. So again I value will be 1 and again 5 times till j reaches 4 it will be printed. Clear with this? So what is the use of this kind of a continue statement? So based on my functionality, so you can imagine any situation. So if I want to continue, so in this kind of nested for loop, so if I want to perform some operations, so once it reaches, in case of this nested for loop, so once it reaches the value of 4, if I want to continue, if I want to print something, so I can go for this kind of continue statement. So if I want to go for a break statement, so I have to give the break keyword. And if I want to use this continue statement, so I have to give this continue keyword. Till this part, everything is clear? Any doubts? So with this, I am just stopping today. So if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. So I just started with the statements, different types of statements. So decision making and break and continue statements. So till this part, if you have any doubts, you can just ask me. So if you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the PPTs, the lecture notes, the recordings, how the projects are being developed. So you'll be gaining more practical knowledge. So every day the attendance link will be posted during the live chat. And once you attend this masterclass for 25 days, and if you pay ₹100, you will be receiving a webinar certificate. And the internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Clear? So any doubts in any of the topics? Access modifiers, I will just discuss in detail. So when I am going to discuss with the access modifiers, I will discuss this in detail. If you are interested, you can go to Pantech e-learning and you can register for Java Programming Internship Program, JPMC. This is the coupon code. Once you register for the internship, you will be getting access to the recorded videos, the lecture notes, PPTs, how the projects are being developed. You will be gaining more practical knowledge. And once every day the attendance will be posted during the live chat, you have to fill in the attendance. And once you attend this masterclass for 25 days and if you pay ₹100, you will be receiving a webinar certificate. The internship users, they will be receiving the webinar certificate as well as the internship certificate. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? So I just started with the different types of that is if statements, decision making statements, and then I gave an introduction to break statement and continue statement. Any doubts? Any doubts? So you want me to explain the continue statement? Yes, I will just explain the continue statement. See what I am trying to do here. So first I value will be initialized with the value of 0. So I am coming inside this loop. So j equal to I. So once j equal to 4, I am going to continue. So once it reaches the value of 4. So first 0 will be printed at the output. Again it goes. So 1. So the jth value will be incremented and 1 will be printed. Until 5. So it is less than or equal to 5. So till 5 it will be printed. Again it goes. So I value will be, it goes to the outer for loop. So I value will become 1. And j equal to I. So I am just initializing. So from 1 till, say for example, 1, 2, 3. So it will be printed at the output. Here, so I that is till j reaches the value of 4, it will be printed. Again it goes. So for example, I value will be incremented again. So again it goes and then it is going to print till j reaches the value of 4. So I am just going to continue and I am going to get the corresponding results at the output. Clear with this? So first 0, 1, 2. So till j reaches the value of 4. So I is less than or equal to 2. So you can see here. So from 2, so till jth value is less than or equal to 4, I am going to continue. I am just going to continue. The opposite of break statement. So I am just going to continue and it will be printed. So the ith value is 1. So 1, 2, 3. So j value is less than or equal to 4. That is j value equal to 4. I am going to continue. Again it goes. So from 2. So ith value is 2. So 2, 3. And then again it goes. So it is less than or equal to 5 and it will be terminated. That is jth value is less than or equal to 5 and it will be terminated. The opposite of break statement is the continue statement. So any doubts? So I just discussed about decision making statement. So what are all the different types of decision making statement? And I gave an introduction to break statement and continue statement. Anisha, which output you want me to explain again? Yes, continue statement. So first I value will be initialized with the value of 0. And then it goes to the second loop. So from 0 till 5 it will be printed. So j equal to 4, I am going to continue. And then I value will become 1. So j equal to I. So from 1 till it reaches the value of 5, that is j less than or equal to 5. So this will be printed at the output. Again it goes. So I value will become 2. So if j equal to 4, so I am going to continue and it will be printed at the output. So you can see 2, 3 and 5, it will be printed. Clear? What is the use of this kind of continue statement? You want me to explain the nested if statement? Yes, I will just explain the nested if statement. So what is the use of this kind of a nested if statement? One minute. So I just left where I left the nested if structure, I don't remember. So I gave an introduction and nested if, right? Alright, I will just run the example again. So this is an example of nested if. So simple if and nested if, I just gave an introduction, right? So let me just, 1.13, I just don't remember what is the name I gave here. Alright, I'll just execute that example again. 1 minute nested if statement. Say I'm creating a class called student13. Something I'm giving. So I'm just clicking the finish button. So this is one example of nested if structure. So I'm just clicking the save button. So what I'm trying to do here, so I'm just initializing this address with the value Delhi and then India. So if this address ends with India and if it contains Meerut, so inside India if it contains Meerut, so I'm printing your city is Meerut. Else if, so I'm checking for two conditions. First condition is satisfied, it ends with India, but my address doesn't contain Meerut. So it goes to the else if part. Else if it checks address if it contains Noida. No, it doesn't contain. It comes to the else block, so it is going to split from the address the 0th index Delhi, it will be split and it will be printed at the output. Clear with this? What is the use of nested if structure? That is having an if statement within another if statement. So this is the main use of this kind of a nested if structure, nesting. So from the name you can just understand. So what do you mean by a nesting operation? That is having an if statement within another if statement. That is the main use of this nested if structure. Any more doubts? Break statement, just now I gave an example of break statement, right? So if I want to break something, say for example I am going for a for loop. So if I want to break the operation, so I can go for a break statement. So if I want to skip that part of the code, I can go for a break statement. Say for example, this is my example break statement. I am just initializing the for loop. So for int I equal to 0, so I less than or equal to 10 and I plus plus. So I am just incrementing my I value. I am coming inside, so I am printing each and every I value at the output. So system.out.println, so I am printing each and every I value at the output. And I am checking for a condition if I equal to 8. So once it reaches the value of 8, I am just breaking from this if block. So you can see when I am trying to run this code, so till 8 it will be printed and then the program execution skips. So the remaining after 8, it will not be printed. Say for example, if instead of 8 I am giving as, say for example, only 3. So it is going to print only the 3 values. So 0, 1, 2, 3, and then break statement it skips. Clear with this? So clear with this? Any more doubts? So I just started with decision making statements. So what are all the different types of decision making statements? And I gave an introduction to break statement and continue statement. Any doubts so far? Any doubts? Println, if you want to print the characters in the next line, new line, you can go for println. Otherwise, if you want to print in the same line, you can go for print statement. Ends with, so the C, so if it is ending with, ends with, so address dot ends with, so if it ends with India, from the name you can understand. So what is the use of ends with? This is an inbuilt function. So if it ends with India and contains, so contains in the sense if it contains this city, so if my address contains Meerut, so that is the meaning of ends with and contains statement. That is functions. Any more doubts? Any more doubts? Relation between I and j in continuous statement. See, for example, I am giving jth value. So for each and every ith value, so I am giving j, I am initializing j with the value of I. That is the relation between I and j. So once it reaches the value of 4, I am just continuing. So I have to continue and the program execution goes. Clear? Any more doubts? Any more doubts? If you have any doubts, you can just ask me. Any more doubts? Ramya, I just now explained the continue statement, right? So if I want to continue the remaining part of my program, so I can go for a continue statement. So the opposite of the break statement is the continue statement. So if that nested loop is confusing, so you can take a simple for loop for a continue statement. Say for example, I am creating continue example 1. Alright. So the opposite of break statement is the continue statement. So I am just creating a main method, public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. So string of space args. Say for example, for int I equal to 1, I less than or equal to 10. So I plus plus. So I am just giving this as I plus plus. So I am coming inside. So once it reaches the value of 5, if I equal to 5, so I am just giving as continue. Clear what is the use of this kind of a continue statement? I am just going to continue and I am going to continue the remaining things. I am printing and I am continuing. So once it reaches the value of 5, so I am just continuing. I am printing the remaining statements at the output. System.out.println. Say for example, I am printing this I value at the output. So I'm just run file. So you can see from 1 till 10 everything will be printed. So this is an example of continuous statement. Scanner. So all those things I am not explaining. So nested if, just now I explained about nested if, right? So having an if statement within another if statement. So only when both these conditions are satisfied, I am going to perform some operation. So that is the main meaning of this nested if structure. Nesting operation. Any more doubts? Else if. So if something is happening, else if I am checking for some other condition. I gave an example for else if, right? I don't know where I kept that example. Say for example, I am creating a new class. So I am giving else if example. Example. I am giving something. So I am creating a class. So I am creating a main method. Say public static void main. The argument is passed as a string array. String of space args. I am coming inside. So I am initializing a with the value of 10 or 6. Say for example, I am checking something. If a value is less than 5, I am printing something. System dot out dot println. So I am printing something. Value of a is less than 5. So I am just giving as the value of a is less than 5. So I am just typing like this. Else if I am checking for some other condition. Say for example, if a's value is equal to 5, I am telling a's value is equal to, the value of a is 5. I am typing something, the same printout. So system dot out dot println, value of a is 5. Otherwise the final else block will be executed. Else, so I am typing the value of a is greater than 5. Here with this, so this is an example of else if structure. So if some condition is satisfied, I am going to perform something. Else if I am checking for one more condition, otherwise the final else block will be executed. When I want to execute multiple conditions, I can go for this kind of else if structure. Any more doubts? Yes, ternary operators I will just continue tomorrow. So today I am not having time. So tomorrow I will start with ternary operators and the remaining things. Any more doubts? OOPS is nothing but object-oriented programming systems. So if you want to take the user's input, so you can go for scanner kind of a thing. So I am not into this. So I will explain that afterwards. Any more system.in is there for getting the user inputs. Split function. You want me to explain? See, I am just splitting my address. So based on comma, so at the 0th index Delhi is there. So dot split. So whichever inbuilt functions I have to call using the variable name using dot operator. So I am just calling this split function. So based on comma I have to split. So whatever value is stored at the 0th location. So 0th index Delhi. So it will be printed at the output. Any more doubts? So I am just giving as address. So Delhi and India. So this is an address, right? So I am just giving the variable name as address. So if you want to store some other thing, so you can give some other thing as well. So if I want to store some flowers name, you can give the variable name as flower. String is the data type. So if I want to store a collection of characters, a sequence of characters, I can go for a string data type. Split function, I am just giving an example. Hey, you can write this. I am just giving an example. So what I am trying to understand the logic in this program. So I am just storing two variables, that is the country and the state. So if it ends with India and if it contains Meerut, I am saying I am in Meerut. My city is Meerut. So else if I am just giving, understand the logic. So if both the conditions are satisfied, I am just giving a scenario and I am explaining the use of nested if statement. System.in is used for getting the user input. So I am not covering this. My mail ID is this one, chennai.java@pantechmail.com. Alright then. So remaining things we will see tomorrow. Same time, same link. Thank you all.